Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is using social media to promote your Airbnb. To help build an online presence for your Airbnb, ask guests to add a hashtag to all their social media posts. We have a cabin that we call Acorn Acre, and on the cover of the cabin manual, we wrote, please add hashtag Acorn Acre to all your social media posts. Now, not everyone will do it, but once in a while, I will see pictures of random happy people at our place. It's very fun. Other times, I'll search hashtag Acorn Acre and see it come up on social media sites attached to surrounding attractions. There may be a hyper hashtagger staying at the cabin, and while they're visiting the state park up the road, they include hashtag Acorn Acre to a picture at hashtag state park and hashtag travel with my dog and the super annoying and overused hashtag blessed. Now, when others are viewing online photos for that state park, they will know your Airbnb must be nearby. So, ramp up your online visibility by requesting those hashtags. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us Jacob Barnhill. Jacob exudes professional knowledge, honor, integrity, and above all, a commitment to serve the agent community with exceptional efficiency and effectiveness. Jacob's sophisticated expertise, stemming from years of experience in investment and property acquisition, provides him with unique insight into local and national market trends, strategic transaction processes, and best practices. 12 years of active duty in the United States Air Force also gives Jacob a strategically honed mindset, which enables him to skillfully guide real estate professionals through the fundamentals of breaking through any barrier or problem area in their business. I have been looking forward to this interview, so welcome to the show, Jacob.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. No one's actually read my bio to me out loud. That was special. I was getting goosebumps.
You have some big words in there. Efficiency and effectiveness. All these great words in there. I loved it. So thanks for sending that over. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you. And I want to hear a little background on Jacob before real estate. Tell us where you grew up, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I would say I'm kind of a mixed up pup, because I was a military brat. So I lived all over the place. Born in North Carolina, in Rockingham, a little stoplight town, small train town there. And then I moved to Arizona, Missouri, and then Arizona, Germany, California, Portugal, Germany. Lived in Germany a total of 7 years, by the way.
Verstehen Sie?
Ja, ein bisschen.
Das ist sehr gut. Okay, keep going.
Dankeschön. I can order beer and introduce myself, and that's about it.
Ich möchte ein großen Bier. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I got you. That's all I need to know.
Wo ist der Oktoberfest? That's funny. So yeah, that's before all that, and then I was a junior ROTC guy for a while. Knew I was going to get in the military. Got in the military for 12 years. Went all over the place. And that's just what I grew up. I thought I was going to be a lifer. And one day someone just shocked and awed me with a business opportunity It was a network marketing company at the time, and they were selling heat patches. And I have this little in my team in the office. I have one of these heat patches framed, and it has that. You ever seen the frog choking out the crane that's trying to eat him? And it says "Never give up." And the frog's like halfway in the crane's mouth, and it has the crane by the throat, and the crane's trying to swallow the frog.
Yes.
And the frog you've seen that, right?
Yes.
So I have that at the bottom with the heat patch. And I ordered tons of these things. I gave them out for free, and I was trying to figure this out while I was still in the military. And my friend shared with me the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. So my brain's going all kinds of crazy. And I'm like, man, this all this stuff I've never been taught. No one ever told me. This is like a whole other world. And I never sold a single heat patch.
Okay, what do you use a heat patch for?
Not one. So it was for muscle soreness. If you could think like Tiger Balm, kind of, but
Okay.
It had some other elements to it that was supposed to help you out. I used them all the time. I thought they were great. They smelled great. But obviously, I'm a horrible salesperson at this time, and I never sold one. So I have one of these heat patches that's framed and with the frog and the crane that says "Never give up," and I usually give that to my new guy in the office, as he's getting his business started. So that's kind of how I got started. And then one day, someone introduced me to a wholesaling book and wholesaling real estate, and I made a quick write to that, and we had some quick success with that, partnered with a few guys. And then I was doing property acquisitions with some of you may know Seattle Investors Club and Julie Clark up there in Pacific Northwest. And I was growing my wholesale business, and I was running her appointments, and I was doing some days 3, 4, 5 or more appointments with sellers. And I was cataloging the properties, writing aggressive offers for these guys. This is before I was a licensed agent. And then I looked at getting my license to start doing my own deal. So that's kind of my intro into real estate. I don't know how far you want me to go, but I'll stop.
Well,
there.
I mean, we are both mastery students from Fortune Builders, which is a very reputable company. Things are transitioning in that company now, but we were probably there in the heyday. And now I coach students, same, type of situation. And there's so many, and this is why I wanted you on the show. There's so many times where, maybe they live in a non-disclosure state like Texas, where they can't see sold comps online. And I'm like, you know what? You've got to get your real estate license. It's just going to help you get access to all that information. And you run a very successful investment business along with also having your real estate license and taking advantage of it. And I have a hard time teaching students how to balance between the two. So that's why I really wanted you on here, just to give an insight of how you can maximize your income coming in, whether it be from selling houses, selling other people's houses, and then also finding those houses and flipping them and using them for investment purposes as well. So let's dive into that. How did you, just you start, because I don't even know where to begin with it because it's so out of my realm. I tell people just get your license and then hang it with an investor-friendly agency, but you say there's so much more that you can do with it. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, there's so many angles I could go. I think this is the easiest way to look at it is anybody that runs seller lead generation, which is what you need in real estate, wholesale, rehab, even if you're acquiring, long-term rentals, Airbnbs, you need sellers, you need properties. And if you're doing that, anyone that does lead generation for sellers knows that the great majority of the opportunity, it's about 90% from the data that I've seen, end up being a listing. Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, absolutely. And I got to say, so Vance, my husband, he has his real estate license. We actually own an investor-friendly agency, but it's actually just Fortune Builder members right now who need a place to hang their license to have access to the MLS, but we don't really go much past that. But I will tell you, we use his license all the time for referrals, which is huge because of exactly what you just said. 2021, I got so lazy because we would see off-market deals and I'd walk in and, Vance was like, let's get another flip. And I'd walk in and be like, you just need some new carpet. And as much as I'd love to buy your house and flip it and make a profit, you're going to get most bang for your buck if you list it. We have some great realtors on our team. Do you want someone who's feisty? Do you want someone who's super patient? And by the way, that's Brenda. We tell her you're going to be feisty or you're going to be patient. And so she's one of our private money lenders. We send her a lot of our leads. But, it's just, we made over $30,000 last year just from referrals. So, right. And you have to have a license to do that referral. So that's the only other really avenue that we tap into as far as making money. So I want you to convince me, how we can start making more money with having a real estate license.
Yeah. So, you can absolutely, and whether you want to lean more towards investing or, you're sitting down with the sellers and you want to do this too, by the way, having your license is going to bring so much more legitimacy and really keep you locked in. Not that we wouldn't want to do the best thing for the seller, but if you're getting incentivized either way, they can shop options with you, right? So incentivizing yourself to have your real estate license, I think, really comes down to looking at the missed opportunity. I think we're always looking for the best way that things can be done as business owners. What's the best model for us to be able to operate? I mean, if there was a better way, that's why Airbnbs are on fire right now, because people are tripling, quadrupling the income that they could make on properties, right? So we're always looking for the best way things can be done, the best model. And what I found, if I'm sitting with the sellers anyway, and I already have all these options in my pocket as an investor, I can really just start with what does the seller need, right? What do they need? And then just take things from there. So if I want to lean more towards, I want to be a real estate agent and actually service this sale myself, or I want to, be the investor, it doesn't really matter. Now, in the agent world, one of the things that I got was, I got the license originally. I wanted to do my own MLS offer system. That's what I was going to do. I wanted it strictly to build up, more investment inventory and offers and all that stuff. And when I got it, I went with Keller Williams at the time, and they had amazing training, and it taught me so much more about business and the compliance side. And I learned so much about the transaction, and me being the strategy and systems guy that I am, I'm like, man, there's so much more that I know now, either the agent I would want to partner with or how I would want to grow this company or whatever. And they taught me, Keller Williams was really heavy on teams. And I learned another way of finding leverage inside the business. And they taught how to create, I call it the hero model now. And you kind of get yourself up to this point where you're totally leveraged out. What a listing appointment looks like for me, Jen, now is I do the little interview over the phone, a little pre-consultation or whatever's, what we're about to go give you some options and sit down. And then I actually go out, and sometimes I don't even do that. I have an inside sales agent that's predominantly fielding a lot of those calls now. And we're sending other agents out, right? Becoming the business owner in the business and teaching these other guys to go do it. But if I'm the agent, right, or agent investor, and I have an ISA, I go out to the appointment that they set for me. I get the paperwork signed. Maybe it's the rehab, or maybe it's the listing. And I take the paperwork back to my team, and I wait for the next appointment. Like, that's where we're trying to get everything to go. The signs get ordered, a pre-inspection gets ordered, the marketing gets done, everything. I don't have to think about any of that stuff. But these are all the things that I originally did, right? And now that's all done for me by my team, and its process is in-house. So all I'm doing is just going to get in paperwork signed, and we're handling the listing in-house.
Okay, so quick question: were you an investor or were you a real estate agent first?
Investor first.
Okay, so I know there are a lot of people who start off as investors, and there are coaches who tell them, you don't need your real estate license. You don't do this because then you have to follow all these extra rules. And for us in the state of North Carolina, we simply have to disclose on our marketing materials that while Vance is a licensed broker, the purpose of this inquiry is to buy your property, not list it. So there's things like that. So where does that change? What do you have to do to make sure that when you are an investor that you have to disclose that you're a real estate agent or broker? What are you, by the way?
Right. I'm a hybrid investor agent.
I love it.
I'm the options specialist.
Oh,
I'm the Swiss Army knife of real estate. If a seller wants to make sure they're doing the best thing depending on their goal, and that might not mean to them that they want to make the most amount of money. You probably had people that they're like, I don't care. I just want to be down in Florida tomorrow. That's it. That's his goal. That's their goal, right? You have people like that sometimes. So for you as a real estate agent, obviously you do have to figure out what your broker and your state laws are. But for us, we blessed all this off through our attorneys and everything is we have to disclose, obviously, to them, we're a real estate agent. However, I'm here to present you options. I can do whatever you want. If they end up wanting to do a cash offer on their house, and we end up buying it, they know that they have to sign a document that says you've been presented comps, I'm making money on this deal, and you don't care, right? That's essentially what they have to sign.
Wow. All right. And you keep saying us. So who is us? You're with EXP, correct?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about EXP. And I know it's a super hot place for investors to hang their license because there's so little overhead. So just explain why it's a great place for investors.
Well, again, we're always looking for the best way, right?
Always.
If you knew you could make more money on your Airbnbs than you do now, you'd want to do it.
Hashtag.
If you knew you could make more money on, what's that?
Hashtag acorn acre.
Yeah. So, and if you could make more money by holding your license, you'd want to do that. So there's actually 7 different ways that you can make money at EXP. So I like the way that one of our partners, Brent Gove, explains it. And he says, there's a lot of people that have been licensed in real estate. And, you sell a house and maybe you sold a house 5 years ago. Are you still getting paid on that house today? Most brokerages that where you hang your license, you'd say no. Well, EXP has what they call a 50-50 initiative. 50% of the revenue, top line revenue, they want to give back to the agents forever.
Wow.
So EXP, I think one thing for people to know is not a franchise. There's a lot of people that have probably heard about EXP, but they don't know EXP is not a franchise. There is no office. You can't buy one. There is no offices. So they don't have plumbing bills. They don't have operating principals. They don't have electric bills. They don't pay rent. They don't pay all of those things that other brokerages have to pay for. And with all that extra revenue, they want to give 50% of top line revenue, not after they pay their bills, top line revenue back to the agents. So all of us at EXP, when you close your first transaction, you get stock, you get ownership in the company. If you go to other brokerages, you're not going to be able to own a piece. Many other brokerages, there's other ones that are similar to EXP. I think EXP is undoubtedly the fastest growing one. I think we have about 900 to 1,000 agents per week, most weeks that are joining the company worldwide.
Goodness.
Yep. So I think they're on track to be 500,000 agents in the next 5 years total at the company. So yeah, it's there's 7 different ways, and that's just one.
Well, on this note, because, you're talking about all these agents in the worldwide, I have heard EXP is a little bit of a pyramid scheme. So prove me wrong, because it sounds like it.
I think that's the fun thing to say. And we look at what a pyramid scheme is. If you go back and look what is pyramid, go to Wikipedia or some other trusted source, whatever that is, and go look up what a pyramid scheme is. And that's usually where the bottom can fall out. They're not actually a scheme in the pyramid form that you speak of is when we're not actually selling a service or a product, right? So, when you look at a pyramid scheme, there's usually a triangle and you have all these people that do that. Well, we have a similar model at EXP when you invite someone into the company, but we're actually selling real estate. So there's actually a service here by helping people buy and sell homes, which is never going to go away, right? And what the company is doing is incentivizing people to collaborate. So if Jen decided she wanted to partner with Jacob and Aaron over at EXP is taking that money because they don't have to pay all those other expenses. And they're saying, Jacob, if you help Jen become more successful than she already is, we're going to pay you money out of our pocket that we make. We're going to pay you money. That's essentially what's happening.
Gotcha. And I had no idea about the stocks. I mean, that's pretty fantastic to get those stocks from day one. That's great. All right. So number one, so give me some more reasons how they incentivize. I want to hear this.
For EXP specific?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, when you close your first transaction, you're going to get stock in the company. When someone that you sponsor or invite into the company, and again, you're not getting paid on transactions from 10 years ago. You're going to get that here when you're gaining stock, and you're not going to get anything from most brokerages because you invited someone who came into a company and crushed it. You don't get anything. The whole company gets all of that, right? So if I sponsor someone into the company and they close their first transaction, then I also get a piece of EXP's money because I helped them close their first transaction. Also, when we call it icon. When we icon, that means that we have paid our cap. There's a cap at a brokerage. And when you've paid your cap plus a few transactions, most it's like 20 to 30 transactions a year, they're actually going to pay you your cap back in stock. So that means, wait a minute, we're paying stock at a company or a cap at a company that we hang our license, but they're going to pay us if we're a productive agent, everything back. And most people wonder, how's EXP profitable with that? Most agents at any company, you can go look at all of them. It's going to be less than 5%, 5%-ish. They're not the ones that are going to be capping. But if you're a productive person or plan to be, you can actually make this company a 100 plus split company. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you can just hire a bunch of people or invite, a bunch of people underneath you to join the team under you. And then you'll make it. You're not even making a percentage of their sale. It's just that EXP is paying you directly.
Yep.
So that's not a pyramid. Okay. I get
So
it now.
this is the whole model now. And this will probably be a good segue into kind of the things that we're doing is now we're incentivized to do this. So now we're helping newer agents see this through group coaching, either joining our team, group coaching, or just partnering directly with us at EXP. And it's no skin off their back. They're getting all the greatest systems in the world. You know what I mean? Everything, our playbook, our partners' playbooks, people that have done. I couldn't find investment coaching as an agent at other places. I was begging for it.
I've heard that other agencies don't even like to work with investors. So, that's why I always tell students, make sure you're finding an investor-friendly agency. But what I love about what you're doing, Jacob, is you are including this education program. I'm huge into the belief that you have to invest in yourself to, have someone teach you so you're not making those mistakes. So, because like our agency, again, it's people who are just investors and we don't do anything. It kind of just stops right there. They are responsible for doing their own education, but this is something that your EXP, what is it, a division? What do you call yourselves?
We have groups. So we actually have a honey badger group is our group, the honey badgers.
The honey badger. I had a honey badger t-shirt one time. So the honey badgers, that is all. And why the honey badgers?
Because the honey badger don't care.
I love that. Yes, that was my t-shirt actually. So you have your honey badger group, but they're mostly investors?
No, actually it's a combo. But if you go back, you look at like Jay Kinder was the guy that really inspired me to come in. He was number 2 at Coldwell Banker, I think, in the world at the time. 530 transactions a year, somewhere around there. As a real estate agent, but he actually was partnering with an investor kind of as a side business, then ended up flipping the homes himself. So I think when agents get to a certain point, I'm seeing people that have their own independent brokerages and stuff locally here and in other places. I think an agent gets to a certain point, they're looking for a better way. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of agents that are very deeply seated in the investment community that are inside our group.
And I coach for Homeschooled by Tarek Al-Musa, and Tarek is an EXP, and I love everything he does. So there's got to be great benefits for the investor to be part of this organization. So I asked you prior to this for some bullet points, and one of them is missed potential for investors by only looking at the investor deals. What the heck is that about?
Yeah, well, that's essentially what we were talking about. So when they're only we're missing 90% of the opportunity. There are plenty of us. You're already capitalizing on the main one, is at least get some referrals. When you get your license, they're just asking you to do it legally. Get in front of these sellers and offer something that's right for the seller. It's right for the consumer. You know, all this stuff is blessed off with fair housing laws and local boards and realtors associations and your brokerage. And they're just asking you to do it right. It is a little bit more red tape, but you just have to figure that out with anything. You know, there's a lot of regulation that's coming down on wholesaling nationwide right now too. And I think what's happening is they're asking you. It's the consumers and the people that are regulating this asking people, let's do this the right way, you know, to protect the consumer. So, but to answer your question, it's 90% of the opportunity, man. If sometimes I'm shaking wholesalers trying to get them to see it. Like, I would love to pay you for leads, you know, just give me the leads that I know are sitting dormant in your system. I have a team with a process that will follow up with those, and we'll track them in our system, and I'll pay a referral fee when they close, you know.
So you just touched on something about wholesalers, and there's a lot of legislation coming down and trying to crack down on wholesalers. So how can having your real estate license help with being a wholesaler? Or is that like where you're crossing the line?
No, I don't think so at all. There are certain brokerages that are not going to allow you to wholesale, right? So you have to look at that. But here's where I specialize. I want to be clear on this. EXP does not let you assign contracts.
Okay.
But here's what I want to propose to you. If I can do a little deal breakdown,
please,
for you, just to give you an example of what's possible when we're like my talk that we did at the re-up. Let's not think outside the box. Let's think like there is no box. Okay. Let me give you a deal example. I sat down with a seller and I told him I have an investor that would buy this property. I mean, it was trash. There was a whole wall that was getting ready to fall out, major foundation issues. It was definitely a rehab. I went to an investor. I told him I had this seller that wanted to sell. This property was worth $165. Seller was willing to take $50,000. Signed the listing where she was going to pay me a commission. And I also got a commission from the buyer. Ended up totaling $5,000 on the front end because there was so much meat on the bone, a 10% listing to my investor.
Wow.
Hold that up against your wholesale fees. It's probably more than most average wholesale fees at the end of the day. But I never assigned the contract. I signed a listing.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
So with most listing paperwork, you can sign a flat fee. You can do it on percentage. You can do a retainer. You can do a combo of all of the above.
Would they call this a pocket listing?
No, this wouldn't be considered a pocket listing.
Okay.
No. So, but you can see, if you think outside the box a little bit, you could offer some different opportunity. Right?
Yes, huge opportunity there. So, Jacob, this has been fantastic. What advice would you give to someone who wants to be that hybrid investor agent and really tap into the multiple streams of income that comes from being an investor, but also having your real estate license?
Yeah, I think that, like with anything, like when we started with Fortune Builders, the first thing they worked on was mindset. The first thing, a lot of coaching, I'm sure you work with a lot of people that you're trying to get going, doing your coaching program. I do the same thing, new agents. We got to work on what we believe first. And we have to really go back that up with what's possible. What's the law say? Because, I mean, if it's a little bit of red tape, are you telling me that a little bit of red tape is worth not doing, and there's 90% opportunity out there when you're already meeting with a seller? I would just go look at what we have made our belief system to this day if we're trying to look for a better way. There's a really good book that Jay Abraham wrote, and I'm trying to remember the name, and he talks about doing more with what you already have. A lot of times we don't need to go pay for more lead generation. A lot of times we can do more with what we already have, with our vendor relationships, with the leads we already have, with different opportunities, offering a different product or service or things like that, in addition to what we're already doing to solve for things. So Jay Abraham, I can't remember the name of the book, but I'm sure the title will explain it when you see it. Go look up Jay Abraham.
So as a person who's fresh getting into investing and they get their real estate license, how would they find an EXP group? How would they find their own honey badgers? How does that work? Do they have to, so if they want to join your group, do they have to live in Columbia, South Carolina, where you live?
Nope. Worldwide.
Oh.
Worldwide. We've got partners in our honey badger group right now in Portugal, in Dubai, Puerto Rico. We have a lady that has a team out of Puerto Rico and Miami, and they sold over 2,100 homes last year. Her team.
Oh my God. Well, Puerto Rico and Miami are the same thing. By the way, I'm from Miami, so I can say that. So if there is some, and by the way, becoming a honey badger under EXP, they get your training on how to keep fueling their investment side of their business, correct?
Right.
Jacob, this is awesome. You are amazing. I've been Facebook friends with you for a few thousand years, but I actually met you in person. I'm pretty sure it's the first time we met in person. Forgive me if I had met you another time. Maybe I was drinking. But we met in Columbia at the Re-Up conference. So shout out to Noah and Christy Duckett Harris, for organizing that. And you are fantastic. You're a speaker as well. How do people find you and get in touch with you?
I think the easiest way, if you go to actionorientedagent.com, and you can get some of our free downloads. You can schedule a call with me from there, or you can do a little input on the back end of one of the pages, and it'll send me an email. So go to actionorientedagent.com.
This has been awesome. And at the beginning of the show, I did a badassery bestowment. So do you have a badassery bestowment you can share with my listeners?
Yeah, just get into action, guys. Like, you got to get into action. And, if you're not doing what you need to on a consistent basis, you just haven't done what you needed to do. You don't have enough leads. You don't have enough conversations. You're not making enough offers for your services. And get into action with those things. Figure out what you need to do to get yourself where you need to be.
I love that. And a dear friend of mine, Cheryl O'Hearn, I'm sure you know of her from Fortune Builder. She's a coach with me with Homeschooled by Tarek. And she says, done is better than perfect. And that kind of ties into the whole action. And so many people get caught in that analysis paralysis and they want to learn. I did that. It took me 6 months to get our first deal. And I just wanted to learn everything first. But if you just take that action, there's so many people around you in this industry that will help you through it. So great badassery bestowment, Jacob. Thank you. And the second half of the podcast is what makes Jacob a badass, which clearly you are. And I use the acronym BADASS. So the first letter is B for book. What's a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, definitely. A lot of good books, but that was the catalyst.
It was. And that's a popular one. We call it the Purple Bible. So that one is huge. So what was it in there that finally clicked for you?
Well, again, like back on what I was saying, we got to change. I was brought up thinking a certain way, like the poor dad, right? Nothing against my family. They are amazing people.
Educated.
But it
yes.
made
all that.
me work on my belief system around money and what was possible.
Very well said. All right. The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice from my coach right now. Business is simply math. It's just simply math.
Okay. Explain that, because I am not a fan of math.
Yeah. So back on my point where I was saying earlier, like if you're trying to figure out your problems in your business right now and what you need to get it into action on, like if you're not making enough offers right now for your services, or are we getting the desired results? If we're trying something right now, right? What were our expectations number wise? Because everything's money. The guys in the coaching that I've been in with recently is business first is for profit. It has to make money or it just doesn't work. It can't do what it's designed to do. I know we want to say a lot of other things first, but we can't do what we were designed to do if we can't make money. So if everything is, and that's where the math starts, is because we're talking about numbers. And if we can't get the desired output out of a transaction or a deal or a rental property, we need to go look at, all right, what are we putting offers on? Are we going to the right place, right? And it's all math. It's all math if you reverse engineer the results. If the results are not the desired outcome, right? It's just simply math. How many more offers do I need to make?
Well, I'm a big fan of business and I hate math, but yes, that absolutely makes sense. We were just talking about this. I had my accountability group lunch today. We meet every other Thursday. And there was a couple there saying, they need more deals. And one person, how many offers you make in a month? And they said, well, we're not making enough. Exactly. So there is that math right there. Vance and I, one time we just wanted to write 4 offers a month. We're like, we're doing it. That's our math right there. We're going to do 4 offers a month. And the 4th offer that month, they wanted something like $299 for the property. And I'm like, we got to write an offer. Just who cares? So we offered like $260. They wanted $299, $260, and they accepted. I'm like, shit, I didn't take a picture in that place. So it was just one of those things, like the worst they can do is say no. So numbers, I get it. I like that. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives Jacob to be successful?
Yeah, man, it's just being better me. And a lot of times I'm a crappy me in my own head, but I'm always trying to improve myself. You know what I mean? Trying to improve how I can be for my kids, how I can be for the people in my life, and be a better leader, and just be a better version of myself. I want to be, a lot more than I am now. That just drives me to be better all the time.
Well, 2 things here. The first, and forgive me for not saying this earlier, but thank you for your service.
Welcome.
Being in the Air Force, thank you very much for that. Second is, you talk about being a coach, but you also talked about your coach, and you are continuously getting education. What type of coaching are you getting right now?
So my coach is John Kitchens, and John is a systems and process coach. So John is very heavily on are we getting the desired results? If not, we just haven't identified what our problem is yet. And that could be math, that could be people. And he's a systems and process coach, and I love him.
Is it helping your business?
Absolutely. He doubled my business as soon as I jumped to EXP. He was the main reason why I switched brokerages at the time. I didn't know what was possible. And I'm a weird guy because I didn't get recruited like most people to EXP. I found EXP, but on the journey for a new coach. And I found exactly what I was looking for in John and the group that he was with. And the rest is history. John's great.
And I love how you said it doubled your business, because there's so many people who hem and haw over the number of what it costs to get a coach. And yet if you're like, I can't pay that much, but a year from now, if you're in the same position, you're losing money by not investing in yourself. So
John doubled our business, and profit in each transaction went up. I want to say we got 25% more profit in each deal because of John.
Shout out to John Kitchens.
He paid for himself.
That is fantastic. All right. The second A in badass is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
So a goal we're working on right now, our goal is to be the preeminent choice for residential real estate. I say residential real estate, and providing options to Columbia, South Carolina. We want to be 24 agents strong by next year. And through our partnerships at EXP, we want to be the preeminent choice in Columbia by 2026.
Fantastic. All right. The first S in badass is systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
So systems we're actually working on some of these today, and we have some amazing people. My wife has been my cheat code since the very beginning in this whole thing, and doing a lot of things that I didn't want to do. And she helps implement and get other things going. But we have an onboarding system for our real estate agents that I'm really excited about, that is just putting everything in front of them that they need and removing 90% of the crap that they don't have to deal with to get their business launched. So that's a big system right now. It's our recruiting engine and the efficiency and leverage system that our agents on the Barnhill team specifically that they're plugging into. That's the big one right now.
Awesome. And yet another reason to why your agency or honey badgers is going to be better than another one because you have these systems in place to help your people join your company. All right, we're going to wrap this up here. The final S in badass is success. What does success mean to you?
I mean, I'm sure people have heard this one, but I love it. Is just I want to do what I want, when I want, with who I want.
Hell yeah.
Said another way is I like this way actually better. If I could actually choose everything that I have in my life, that's pretty powerful. I get to choose that I want to get off work early because I can. I get to choose to go on a vacation. I get to choose to invest in a property. I have the power to choose whatever I want to do. Everything. I mean, if you really think about that, I can't remember where I heard that, but when it was said that way, that really just sat with me so much more powerfully that I could choose every single thing that I get to do every day.
I appreciate you choosing to be on our podcast. You have been fantastic. One more time, how can the listeners find you?
actionorientedagent.com.
And they can become a honey badger.
That's right.
Well, Jacob, you have been fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the show. And thank you for listening. And we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.